or whatever the fucking Harry Potter theme tune is. Fucking hell, look what we got here. We've got a Ford Anglia. Yeah, it's Ford Anglia, Matchbox. Well, is it Lesney Matchbox? Yeah, Lesney. So sort of pre-Matchbox kind of thing. Very old, very old casting. But yeah, it's Ford Anglia, and you know, every time I see a video pop up on YouTube about Ford Anglia, they always go, "Oh well, I'm going to restore this, and it's going to be the Harry Potter one." Yeah, well, fuck Harry Potter. Yeah, I'm restoring this one to be the yellow Ford Anglia with flames up the side from the BBC early 80s sitcom The Young Ones. Why am I doing that? Well, because The Young Ones is better than Harry Potter, and plus, like, I'm sick of seeing Harry Potters. So yeah, I don't think I've seen. I know you can actually buy. I think it's an Oxford Ford Anglia with, you know, in yellow with the flames up the side. But that's in is it 176 or HO/00 scale to go along with train sets. This is in the sort of proper Matchbox / Hot Wheels scale, about 164. Should know, one of the weird things for people who like you know, doing model cars and whatever, you know, Matchbox, Hot Wheels and so on, is that the kind of standard scale is 164, but the in reality, a lot of the cars end up being either slightly smaller or slightly bigger, depending on the sort of car it is, which is down to shipping weight, as far as I'm aware. They could actually make cars in the, you know, true 164 scale and all make them, you know, like the same. But some cars would end up being teeny tiny. Some would end up being massive, so they have to kind of average it out. And the thing is as well, the shipping weight of a cardboard box full of, you know, toy cars has to be a certain amount in order for them to get the money's worth. You know, if you can stick you know, 2 kilos worth of stuff in a box, it's cheaper than, you know, sticking 3 kilos of stuff in a box or something like that. It's one of the reasons why sometimes with, you know, when you're buying action figures, you know, like Transformers or G.I. Joe or something like that, some figures will come with a horrendous amount of additional accessories, whereas some figures won't. It's just, you know, to increase, you know, to keep the shipping weight average. So yeah, so I'm going to you know, talk about this. I mean, the casting itself is fairly average. There's no dents or scrapes. The glass is superb on the windows and the windscreen there. The axles are rusted up to buggery, and the wheels are actually stuck to the axles due to the rust. We'll have a look at seeing what we can do with them to clean that up. But there's no scrapes, dents or anything like that in the body, even though I just did the, you know, I like to do the old banging it about and things. Yeah, but there's nothing there, and it just needs opening up, cleaning, well, stripping, cleaning, repainting, and hopefully these wheels aren't going to give me any trouble. So let's get on with the drilling and the opening up and the cracking open and all that crap. Aha! Yeah, well, I've kind of cheated here a bit. I've already stripped the body. Didn't take too long actually, just a quick dip in the goo, paint fell off, give it a scrub, you know, soapy water and metal brush and everything just to get all the crud off. Came up fine, nothing wrong with the body. Leave that aside. We've got the glass for the windscreen, nothing wrong with that, just needed a bit of a clean, you know, the old hot soapy water treatment, bit of a clean, that's fine. The base, I've sort of half cheated on this one. I've already removed the wheel, well, the front axle. Like I said, it was rusted up to buggery, and the wheels wouldn't rotate. Well, the wheels wouldn't turn and everything like that. So I gave it a little soak in WD-40. And that loosened the rust up enough for me to be able to get the front axle off. And you know, I shined up the axle and you know, cleaned up the wheels and everything like that, cleaned all the rust and everything off, put it back on. All I've done there is I've tapped it a little bit with a hammer just to mushroom it back over, and then just put a little tiny dab of super glue on the end, and it's on there, it's rock solid. The rear axle, unfortunately, no matter how much I soaked it in WD-40, the wheels just wouldn't free up. Well, I have one wheel that turns. Basically, one wheel on here. I can't remember which one it is. One of them. One wheel that turns independently, and the other one that turns with the axle. The idea was I was going to try and loosen the wheels up so I could do the same as I did with the front axle, which was push the wheel down and then file off the the little bit of a mushroom at the end, and then just do basically the same thing. Clean it up, put it back on, tap the mushroom out a bit, and then just put a little bit of super glue on to to kind of hold it in place. I couldn't do that because the wheel that I want to get off, because I don't know whether you can see, probably can't, but there are two large mushrooms, and then on the other side there are two small mushrooms, and I was wanting to grind off the small mushrooms, and I can't get the wheel that's on the small mushroom to budge at all. Like I say, the base plate had a good 2-3 hour soak in WD-40 last night, and I ended up with WD-40 all over my hands and everywhere and stuff like that, and a lot of swearing, a lot of trying to figure out how I could, maybe just get a little gap in there to get a bit of WD-40 into that gap so that it dripped down into the wheel, but nope, nothing. I've also noticed the rear axle is bent a little bit, not much, but it's there and it annoys me. So I'm quite happy with it as it is. The wheels all roll, even though the back sort of driver's side wheel has a little bit of a wobble to it. I'll probably be able to sort that out somehow. But yeah, so there's only 3 parts for this one, because this one was made in the days before they started putting interiors into the cars. Like some of the really old ones don't even have glass, but this one does, so that's nice. But yep, I'm now going to get on with the process of customing it, which will start with, because in the series, the young ones, the very first episode of the series, Mike and Vivian have a discussion about a leg that Vivian has. He's brought home from university because he's studying to be a doctor, and he decides that rather than writing an essay on this leg, he's just going to nail it to the bonnet of his car, which in a later scene you see that he's actually done. So I'm going to make a severed leg to go on the bonnet of the car. The very final episode of the series has his pet hamster SPG kipping on the radiator, and after he crashes the car it kills SPG. So I'm going to also see if I can just make a tiny little SPG to sit on the front of the car here, so that it's not going to be a very detailed thing. It's probably just going to be a blob of brown coloured milliput. I'm 50-50 whether to do that, because if I can't make it look decent, then it's not worth bothering. It's just like, why is there a blob of brown, basically a blob of brown shit on the front of the car? So I'm gonna think about that. Definitely making the leg, but SPG maybe not. But yeah, this is going to be like I say, like Vivian's. It's going to be bright yellow with flames up the side. Got a couple of pictures to work on. The actual flame details that are on Vivian's car are going to be quite difficult to replicate. I think I'm going to end up using paint, and instead of using a brush to paint it on, I might end up having to use a pin, or I would say a cocktail stick, but I don't think the cocktail stick's going to be fine enough. I'm going to probably end up having to use a pin or something. So yeah, so what we'll do is we'll get all the painting done and then come back with it all finished, and do reassembly, and that's it. This one's probably going to be a short video, so there we go. Anyways, I'll be back in a bit.
Several days later.
So yeah, several days later I return with the finished bits. Took a bit longer to do this than I thought it would do. Very simple job, really simple. It's just that life gets in the way sometimes, so you have to put things on the back burner until you've got time to properly finish them. But yeah, the only real trouble I had was that for some reason the paint, the yellow paint on this wouldn't settle. Wouldn't settle properly, and took me about 3 or 4 goes to get a decent coat on it that you know, didn't have, you know, like the metal or the undercoat showing through. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. The glass I've just sort of cleaned up a little bit. It's quite nice. And the base, well, it's just the base. It's just been given a gloss black, and then the wheels have been coloured in. Unfortunately, the wheels are a bit stiff now, probably because I put paint on them. So it's still a roller. It's just that it's not as good a roller as what it was. Might have to put just a little bit of lubrication on there. You know, a little bit of what have I got? I've got some silicone spray somewhere that can act as that, but it's not a massive thingy. So let's get this put together. It's very simple. We're just gonna pop in the windscreen there. It just slides back into the hole it was. I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I am. What have I done with my glue? Glue. Ah, there it is, glue. Just need to pop a bit of glue in there, because the rivet that's holding the windscreen in had to be basically destroyed in order to get the windscreen out. And for some reason now my glue isn't working. Oh! Let's try and unblock this thing a bit. What we got in here? Okay, so now we've got the glue to work, and that's how. Just put a spot in there to put hold the windscreen and that in, and now we just pop the base plate back in. Just get it through the hole. Oh balls! Do you know, I'm all fingers and thumbs today. It's not been a very good couple of days for me. Not been feeling it at all. Just tired, cold all the time. It's that time of year, basically, you know, when the weather starts to change and it gets cold and everything. That sets my ailments off, and it doesn't matter what medication I take, I still feel it really bad. Yep, so there we go, and a spot of glue in the back here because it only has one post. Spot of glue there. Give it a little blow, and yeah, there we go. Done. That is Vivian's yellow Ford Anglia with flames up the side, as shown in a couple of episodes of The Young Ones. And so look, I'll try and show you close up. The flames on the side, I ended up, basically what I ended up doing was, I got hold of a pack of fine highlighter pens, very thin nibs. And the idea was that I was going to use them because the ink in them was quite not bad. I was going to put them on and leave them with a kind of a translucent effect, you know, sort of like the flames are a bit of a fade. But yeah, I've done it on both sides, and unfortunately what happened was I managed to draw out the flames how I wanted them and left that to dry, and then I thought, just to protect them, I'll stick a layer of clear coat over the top. Just hold them in place, and when I did that and put the clear coat on the entire model, the the clear coat ate away at the ink, so I had to go over them again with some Tamiya red gloss, and it's come out alright. One side is significantly better looking than the other, but then, you know, it's basically once I've done that and dried, the false leg, well, the severed leg on the front was easily made, just using paper clip and some toilet paper and a bit of super glue, painted to look like it's wrapped in brown paper like it is in the TV series, although on the TV series the leg is mounted a bit closer to the front of the bonnet, but I mounted it a little bit further back. I didn't make SPG because there just wasn't a way that I could do it and make it look good. SPG would have just ended up being a sort of brown blob sat on the bonnet. But yeah, we'll have some close-up pictures so you can see it, and you know, then that's all done.